I'll call the North Smithfield School Committee of August 16, 2022 to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chair Lombardi,
Present.
Mrs. Mayo. Here. Mrs. Vada.
Here.
Mr. Connell.
Here.
Mr. Jones, I did not hear from.
He did call me and say he could not make it tonight. We have a quorum. Let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Unless there's an objection, I'd like to just take item number 3 out of order and move it down the agenda. Before we enter public comment or community comment, I believe, Fatima, you have a statement that you want to read into the record.
Yes. Office of the Attorney General's statement on investigation into alleged hazing at North Smithfield High School dated August 16th, 2022. On June 21st, 2022, this office was advised by the North Smithfield School Department that it had received information alleging that during North Smithfield High School football team activities in the spring of 2022, older football team members had engaged in hazing activities involving younger team members and/or prospective members when no adults were present. Immediately thereafter, this office and the North Smithfield Police Department began an investigation of these allegations. During this investigation, North Smithfield Police interviewed or attempted to interview all individuals, adults, and children who may have witnessed or been the subject of these allegations. After consent was obtained from their parents, many football team members and prospective members agreed to be interviewed by police, and the substance of those interviews were shared and discussed with prosecutors from this office. Other parents of football team members or prospective members did not consent to interviews of their children. Over 30 adults and children were interviewed by the police. No football team member or prospective member reported being subjected at any time to physical contact that they characterized as inappropriate or criminal in nature. No football team member or prospective member or parent has requested that this office or the North Smithfield Police Department bring criminal charges against anyone. No adults that were interviewed, including football team coaches, witnessed physical contact among football team members or prospective members that could be characterized as inappropriate or criminal in nature. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the investigation to date leaves this office concerned with the safety of football team members and during the off-season prospective team members when no adults are present during team activities. Multiple witnesses have reported credibly that there were times during or immediately before or after football team activities in the spring of 2022 when no adults were present. Furthermore, several individuals have separately and credibly reported to police that they witnessed older football team members engage in physical contact with younger team members and/or prospective team members that in the view of this office was highly inappropriate at a minimum. This conduct included older team members holding younger team members, younger team members and/or prospective team members down and making apparent physical contact with them, including in the buttocks and other sensitive areas. Whether this plainly inappropriate conduct rises to the level of criminal misconduct and whether criminal charges are possible, if it does, remains undetermined at this time, given the unwillingness to date of any team member or prospective member to come forward to describe precisely the physical contact that they were subjected to and make a criminal complaint to police or to this office. This office understands how difficult it can be for any person, particularly a child, to come forward and speak to police and prosecutors under these circumstances. We continue to encourage anyone with knowledge of this matter to contact the North Smithfield Police Department or this office. A Accordingly, the investigation of this serious matter remains open and continues. This office and the North Smithfield Police Department will keep the North Smithfield community updated as appropriate. The Attorney General is grateful to the North Smithfield School Department for their prompt and appropriate attention to this matter and immediate notification of this office upon learning of the allegations involved.
Thank you. Does anybody from the public want to speak?
I don't see anyone on Zoom indicating so.
Okay. Superintendent?
I'd like to read a statement as well. As superintendent, it is my critical responsibility to ensure the safety and security of every student that attends North Smithfield schools. Together with our support staff, coaches, teachers, administration team, and school committee, we take this responsibility very seriously. When any allegation is made, particularly one as disturbing as hazing involving sexual assault, we have an urgent responsibility to act. We all have a duty under Rhode Island general law to report all allegations involving our students to the Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth and Families and local law enforcement. In the case involving our football team, we followed the letter of the law once we received the allegation. The difficult decision to suspend preseason activities during the investigation was made after consultation with law enforcement, including both the North Smithfield Police and the Attorney General's office, along with DCYF and our legal counsel. Student safety and security was the #1 priority. I stand by that decision. As the Office of the Attorney General released today, this investigation remains open. We ask for your continued patience as this important work continues. And as we take the necessary steps to ensure the safety of every student. Moving forward with athletics this year, I will be asking the school committee to consider new policies and protocols that further support student safety, from hazing and appropriate conduct to mandatory reporting. We will also assign responsibility and professional development requirements for our staff in these areas. I recognize that this has been a stressful time and a time of uncertainty for many football players and their families, particularly for our players who always demonstrate appropriate and responsible conduct. This has been a very delicate situation and assure you that each decision we have made and vetted in partnership with the North Smithfield Police and the Attorney General has come with safety as the primary consideration. Our district will continue to follow the law and do everything it can to protect our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Mr. Spenzio, do you have any comments?
The only comment that I can make at this point is that the school district took appropriate steps in compliance with the law from beginning to end. And throughout this whole process, law enforcement has acknowledged that this district has done the right thing in comparison to what's happened in other communities across the district. So I think you can be proud that both you acted and the superintendent acted in an appropriate manner in protecting kids. That has always been the first consideration here.
Thank you. And does anybody else want to make a comment from the public? I know I just have a brief statement, but does anyone else want to make any statements?
I don't see any hands on Zoom, so
Please.
I don't see anybody
Thank you.
indicating online either.
So Superintendent, thank you for your statements. And we didn't speak, but I'm going to talk about some similar things. So I did want to say that the safety of our kids is the #1 priority of this school committee. I personally know many of the children and families that are on the football team and other sports in North Smithfield. It was tough to sit and wait on the pending report by the Attorney General's office. I support all sports, including football and their coaches. We have a great school system and a very good sports program. We need to fix whatever issues that challenge the safety of our children. I expect sports will resume and the superintendent will provide educational programs on bullying and hazing. As a close community, we should have no tolerance for this. I know I don't. Thank you. Anyone else?
Chair, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
with your permission, just, I'll echo your sentiments. I think you said it very succinctly. And again, I think the committee, but also the district, all the staff that have acted appropriately and I think admirably under the circumstances. It has been very challenging. And there's not always an easy roadmap to follow in these things, other than, as has been mentioned several times, the letter of the law, which makes, again, requirements, reporting mandatory in certain circumstances. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody involved with the way this was handled, because it was done the only way we could do it, and it was done correctly. So thank you very much.
Okay, moving on. We could go back to agenda item number 3. Do we want to?
Folks, I think your segment is over. We're moving on to the rest of the agenda now.
Well, let's move on to the consent agenda. Are we doing- Yeah. Okay. Yep. Hold on. Did you want us to recess so you can break, or are you going to stay a while? Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right, so let's just move to the consent agenda. You'll be up in a few minutes. All right, so consent agenda has been presented to you. Does anybody have any questions?
I actually just have a clarification. On number 5, the overnight field trip request. I just want to make note that it's actually to New York as opposed to Disney.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Solicitor. Okay, so should we amend the agenda? I'll entertain a motion to amend the agenda on item number 5A to say instead of Disney, New York. Motion been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Let's move back to item number 1.3, resolution and memorial to John Lahar, former principal of NSMS. So we have a resolution that we'd like to read into the record.
Resolution in memoriam to John Lahar from the North Smithfield School Committee. Whereas the North Smithfield Middle School and the entire North Smithfield school community lost a valued member and leader on July 28th, 2022, with the death of John Lahar. And whereas John Lahar dedicated nearly 2 decades to the North Smithfield School District, having worked in the district since 2005 and having served as the North Smithfield Middle School's principal since 2008. And whereas during his tenure, he was instrumental in bringing the new North Smithfield Middle School from concept to reality and was proud to open the building to the community in 2008. And whereas John Lahar helped launch unified basketball and the North Smithfield Middle School and always worked to ensure that inclusivity and acceptance were a priority in all that he did. And whereas John Lahar, in his first few years as the new middle school principal, was able to lead his students to attain test scores with the highest improvement in reading in the state and increasing significantly in mathematics. The North Smithfield Middle School was recognized in 2010 by the General Assembly for this accomplishment. And whereas John Lahar devoted his life to being a great son, husband, father, friend, and educator, and there is a deep void of sadness in his family, friend, and school communities. John Lahar was a caring, loyal, and humorous leader, and everyone he met walked away with a smile. Now therefore be it resolved that the North Smithfield School Committee recognizes and honors the significant contributions of John Lahar over the course of his distinguished career in education and mourns his death, and extends its sincerest condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues at the North Smithfield School District. It is resolved that a copy of this resolution is forwarded to his wife and children, thanking them for the support and sacrifice they all gave to the North Smithfield School District.
Thank you. So I think this is the first time that we had a resolution in memorial for a person, and it just shows the respect and sadness we have with losing Mr. Lahar. Again, and he also the respect that we have for his family and children. I just wanted to put that on record. He'll be here forever. And does anybody else have any comments?
I think that was a lovely memorial to his legacy, because he does have quite a legacy here in West Smithfield and should be remembered and will be remembered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank you. John was a colleague and a friend of mine, and yeah, thank you.
So I'll entertain a motion to pass the resolution and memorial to John Lahar, former principal of NSMS.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to say one brief thing. Despite all of the teacher shortages across the state and all the new hires that we had to conduct, we're fully staffed. And let me tell you, we have some heavy hitters, really exciting people coming on board. So, you know, I feel for the other communities that are struggling with the teacher shortage, but we're thriving. We will thrive. So beyond that, I just wanted to turn it over to Claire Arnold to give us an update on everything that's ESSER.
All things ESSER.
Good evening, School Committee, Chair Lombardi. So I wanted to do an update on the ESSER funding. We talked about this quite a bit in the winter when we were developing our plan. And so I figured I would do an update as we're entering into the 2022-23 school year. So ESSER, if you remember, is the Elementary and Secondary Education Relief Act. The funding is to help ensure that districts and schools continue to operate safely, support sustained access to in-person instruction, address social, emotional, mental health, and academic needs of all students due to the impact of COVID-19. During the planning phase of ESSER, we did send out surveys to family members, to teachers, and we had hundreds and hundreds of responses. And we came up with 4 priorities. And those priorities are implementation of additional intervention opportunities throughout the district that take place within the school day. And that was number 1 across the board. Implementation of after-school activities and programs and interventions after school hours also was a priority. Providing additional mental health services and supports, and continuing to repair and improve school facilities to reduce the risk of virus transmission. So those are our 4 priorities. We've then brought that to school improvement teams, to the administrative team. We analyzed data, and that's where we came up with the ESSER plan that we unrolled in the winter. And so when we're looking at the school year, I just wanted to update you on some of the initiatives. And so one of the first initiatives this summer was our summer enrichment program, which ran at all 3 schools, elementary, middle, and high school. We had a wonderful turnout at NSES. Over 140 students participated in 15 different programs. Some of those programs, they ranged from the bucket drummings, science adventures, model rocket club, be your best club, STEM scholars, echo art, artful narratives, math ramp up, math gone wild, summer reading book club. And we had really fantastic feedback from parents, from students, from families, and teachers. And so it was a wonderful experience for everyone involved. And at the middle school, high school, we also expanded, and we had this year we had over 110 students in grades 5 through 12 participate in a variety of offerings. And likewise, they had just positive feedback about the experience. We had the American Red Cross babysitting class, the Welcome to NSHS student orientation, summer math enrichment, greenhouse and gardening club, paint party, bracelet making, volleyball clinic, the Kindness Rocks projects, the book club bunch. And so I'd really like to thank our teachers, our co-coordinators, our administrators, just everyone involved. It was a summer of learning and a summer of fun. And that was really our balance, what we wanted to find. Engagement activities to bring students together, but also include learning. And I think that we hit the mark. And I'm really proud of our teachers and our coordinators. Other ESSER funds that we will be using this year are earmarked for math intervention. We're using ESSER funds. We have hired an additional math interventionist to expand our efforts. Preliminary data from last year has shown really statistically significant improvements in mathematics. And so when we have the final data, obviously we'll share that out with you, but what it tells us is we are on the right path and we need to just keep going. And so that was wonderful, because math is where we took the biggest hit in North Smithfield, but across the state, across the country, it was really mathematics we were most worried about. We will be implementing various models of tutoring, and with that could be some after school tutoring. And we're also working on the late bus at the middle school, high school. We have instructional assistants for kindergarten and first grade classrooms. You may not realize, but even our youngest students had an impact with COVID. They had less students that walked in the door that had preschool or had a lot of socialization in the last few years. And we're noticing that in letter identification or language development. We have professional development training that aligns with the science of reading. We're still moving forward, slow and steady on that, but we are moving forward on that. We have building-based substitutes. Our subs last year really allowed us to stay open during a surge, but also increases stability during any challenging times. And it will actually help us with the science of reading professional development if teachers have to be out of the classroom for that. We have also hired 2 student engagement / intervention coordinators. And I think we had talked about quite a bit the need for additional social emotional supports for our students, especially at the middle school, high school level. And so those positions are full-time positions. The teachers are going to have a different school day though, because they'll be coming in a little bit later and staying later. So they'll be a bit available after school to work with students. And it could be some type of sessions where they're just conversing with students, but it also could be engagement type activities and clubs. And so we are excited to bring them to our team that we have within those 2 schools. We also have the high school windows project, and that was actually supposed to start this week. And I was excited to be able to tell you that, yep, it's going, but apparently there's a delay due to a back order of the actual windows. And so the plan going forward is that as soon as they come in, they will the project will be done, but most likely on evenings, weekends, or even a holiday break. But it's still on track to move forward. And last but not least is the high school digital sign. And it has been ordered and it will be arriving at the beginning of October. So that's where we are with our ESSER funds, and we are on track with our plan. And I look forward to the school year. We have a lot of exciting plans.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 4. This is for informational purposes. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, old business.
Oh,
Mm.
actually, I'm
Sorry.
sorry. You can say hello to David. David, high school special ed, just joined the team.
Oh,
Fantastic,
congratulations.
amazing level of experience, and we're thrilled to have him.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Welcome.
Lisa, old business, anything? Thank you. New business, expansion of contract with Kids Club
Chair, I'm going to recuse from that one.
Sure.
Because I do some work with it.
to include morning care at NSES.
Yes. So we have the opportunity, Kids Club has been a fantastic partner for after-school care, but they're able to expand to include morning care as well, just for NSES. That after school, we can handle grades 5 and 6 from the middle school, but this will be specifically on the elementary school time and schedule. So starting at 7:30, parents will be able to bring their kids to the elementary school for morning programming. Great. So in the reason I have this on in this format is that we have already met with Kids Club and we negotiated some changes to the contract. It wasn't ready for this packet. So that will be on September, but I just need to go ahead pre-contract to get this ball rolling so we can start on at the beginning of school.
That's great. I would think that would be a real benefit to parents. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, we're excited about this opportunity.
All right.
All right.
Motion to approve moving forward.
Yes, please.
Okay. With the expansion of the contract with Kids Club.
So moved.
Motion been made.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 2, short-term agreement for concession services with Cagney Food Services.
Correct. This is actually part of what would come on up in number 3, but we don't have a lot of time before that field is starting to be used for games, and we don't have anything in place for food services or concessions. So this company has numerous contracts, including private and municipal. We would like your permission to negotiate a 45-day agreement just to start off our school year so that we have food and vending services in the new concession stand.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
This isn't something I could put up. We don't need to put this up there.
It's going to be linked to number 3, the next item. But no, we did check with our attorney in that we are okay entering into this short-term agreement.
When you say short term, is there a limit on it or? I mean, do you
45 days.
45 days?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
I mean, I guess my only question, obviously you did some sort of due diligence. Why Cagney? Is there a specific reason?
We should have changed the sequence. I should have made this one
Because I saw
last.
the sole
And
source, yes, and I
number
saw-
3, below this should have come first.
Right.
They are partners with number 3.
Okay.
And they
So that makes
provide
sense.
services for number 3.
All right, so then if they're partners with number 3, I'm going to recuse on 3, so, Jean?
Okay. So if you could explain to us number 3. that would
Okay,
be-
yeah, let's
Yeah.
look for it at it in its totality. So we have been looking for a company or companies that can provide a multiple services for the athletic field. Number 1, we would like a field manager, a company that can take a look at our billing, a company that can handle rentals of the facility, that can handle scheduling of the facilities, that can provide video streaming. We would also like that company to be able to provide concession services, along with staffing, point of sale. So we have researched, we have looked at a state master price agreement, we have looked at consortium agreements. We cannot find anybody that can offer everything that we're looking for under one umbrella. Plus, well, and let me tell you why we started talking to Wide World of Indoor Sports, because they're in town. They can also provide, and we didn't realize how much we would really want this, indoor facilities during inclement weather or at other times. So we're basically looking at a partnership with Wide World of Indoor Sports in a facility sharing leasing agreement. It would be no cost to the district. In fact, it will be revenue generating. So we have had discussions about, and this is why we're putting this forward, to be able to really go into discussions with Wide World of Indoor Sports. They would like to partner with us. We would like to partner with them. We cannot find anybody that offers this full set of services, especially not just in state, but in our community. So we're looking to designate Wide World of Indoor Sports as a sole source for these services that we're looking at. It is allowable under Rhode Island general law. We have done quite a bit of research to see what the alternatives are. And this to us is just great. I mean, we're talking profit sharing in the rentals and advertising. And so again, no cost to the district. In fact, it will help us generate revenue from the field, the concessions, advertising, and such. And the reason for that concessions company is that they provide concessions for Wide World of Indoor Sports and would be under their umbrella and tied into the profit sharing and the arrangements that we negotiate. So obviously, we will bring any contract and negotiation that we have before Ben, before our solicitor, and then, to the school committee. But this will allow us to get started serving food at the events and start negotiating the terms of an agreement with Wide World of Indoor Sports.
So you're just looking for a motion to move forward with this plan.
Yeah, so for Wide World is a motion to designate them as sole source.
Okay,
And then for the concessions, it would be to enter into a short-term agreement with Cagney Food Services for concessions.
okay. So why don't we do number 3 first?
I have one question.
Oh, okay, I'm
Just a-
sorry.
No, I'm sorry, just a quick
Yeah.
question. Superintendent, I hope I can answer this. I'm just wondering, I'm fine with this. I'm just wondering why, if we're not doing a formal contract, we're just designating them as a sole source, why do we even need to designate them as a sole source?
So that we don't have to do the full RFP thing, that we can just go directly to the company to negotiate the contract.
So I'm not familiar with this particular program in terms of sole source. This keeps us in compliance that we're not in we're
No,
we're okay
we're
with
not.
RFP. Okay. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
And one of the things I know the chairman needs to approve is why is this the best bang for your buck?
Yes,
And from everything you're telling me, if you had to parse this out to multiple companies,
exactly.
it obviously would cost you quite a bit.
Right, and there is no other well, Wide World has indoor facilities that we could use, but again, if we're parsing everything out to all these different vendors, we don't have, that profit share in place.
Good, sounds good. So I think we would like a motion to move forward towards a contract with sole source provider White Rose Sports. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Um,
and to clarify, we're just designating Wide World Indoor Sports as our sole source. That's what we're doing, right?
Right, and through that, we will be negotiating a contract and an agreement with them.
Yes, we're not approving the contract. tonight. We're just
No,
doing-
I think, I
Yes.
hope I said that.
Sole source in order
Yeah.
to develop a contract.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and we do have one recusal as well.
And we haven't, we said number two. We didn't do number two. I don't think. Did we
Number
vote on
two, and exactly what are you looking for number two? The ability
Just
to-
a
Short-term.
short-term
Mhm.
lease for concession services.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion for a short-term agreement for concession services.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any opposed? And is this a recusal as well, Jim? For number two? Is this a recusal as well?
Yes.
Okay, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
Okay.
There's an awful lot to put together in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is there any further business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We're adjourned.